As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos. It will be
Oh, man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
BravBros. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of BravBros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Scoodle Madoodle. What's up, dude?
I see your wheels turning because you just completely stopped and stared at me. But what was that one? Scootles McDoodles?
I like that one better. I said Scoodle McDoodle, but Scoodles McDoodles is funnier.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about
helps.
pluralizing names or something. It's always funny. Not a lot. We're back, ready to get after it. If you can't tell, voice is back.
Unfortunately
for everybody involved. But it seems like my reign of terror over my head is over. Hopefully. There's a potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The Cars and Pep boys right now are going to pick it up after this. I have been Shooter's chauffeur lately. He's actually been pretty good about taking care of himself.
Yeah.
He's only asked for help a few times.
By taking care of myself, you mean just ordering Grubhub pretty much every night for dinner because I can't go to the grocery store.
That. But, it's a slow week here. There's not a lot of shows airing right now, so we're going to take a different approach to today's episode, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. If not, there's only one show airing this week regardless, so we thought today was like the best time to do this. We're going to get into a little bit of our personal life.
Personal Q&As, and we're still going to review OC at the end, so if that's what you're here for, listen to our personal questions, and then you can move on, go to OC.
Then you can listen to OC, but don't just jump ahead. That would be rude. You're disregarding who we are as people, how we got here.
Yeah, what the hell?
We have a lot of questions.
We're people too.
We are people too, damn it. Mm-hmm. And today you're going to learn about us people, and we're going to tell you what's up with the bros.
People might think we have fake names. Mine is fake. Steele's is not.
We are people. We are people, okay? So stick around and listen to us be people.
People on people.
Jesus Christ, this is going to be a train wreck. But let's get the Rosenthorn out of the way so we can get into some personal Q&As, because I'm actually looking forward to it. People ask us frequently when we do a live. That's usually when the questions come out the most is like, who are you guys? How did you get here? What do you guys do for a living? Like, how'd you meet? All that other stuff. So we're going to talk about all that shit today, and then we're going to do some OC. We're also going to talk about Kyle and Mo because a lot of you weren't on our live last night, so we want to fill you in on what's up there. But first, Rosenthorn. And I'm going to go first this week, and then you can pick up the pieces afterwards.
All right.
And mine are both technically roses, but my one is framed as a thorn because I thought it was really funny what this person did. But I'm going to read my rose first, which I don't normally do, but since they're both technically roses, it doesn't matter. So up first, love the bro perspective. I am a diehard Bravo-holic, and I listen to multiple Bravo pods. This one is always great, funny, and an easy listen. The dude POV is interesting and different. 5 stars always. If only they had the same taste in sports teams. Can't win them all. Smiley face emoji. I will not read your hashtag KC Golden K9, but you can deduce from her name what it's about.
Kansas City,
and I think they have a football team there. I don't know if
they cheat and they put out their grass.
They put out shoddy grass, and they know the guy that actually put the grass. Hold on,
the whole thing.
Can we we have time? Should we fill our listeners in on how that all happened? How we lost the Super Bowl? Turfgate.
Yeah.
So the head groundskeeper has made the same turf. He has been in charge of the turf for every single Super Bowl since what? Like the beginning?
No, not since they started cultivating certain turf for the Super Bowl. So it's like 25 years.
Yeah, this man has been doing this for a long time.
His name is the Sod Father.
The Sod Father, as they call him. The Sod Father did the turf for this Super Bowl, and if you watch the game, the Eagles slipped the entire game. Our defensive line is better than any defensive line in the history of football, and they couldn't get their footing because every time they tried to drive into the offensive line, they'd slip, their feet would fall down, and then the Kansas City Chiefs would get a first down.
Yes.
So you can blame the turf for us losing the Super Bowl.
The NFL did come out and say that there was no issues and that the Eagles should have changed their cleats, and now everybody's mad again about it, which I completely forgot about it, trying to move on to get to the new season. But they said the Eagles should have changed their cleats again. Apparently, they changed it 3 different times, and nothing worked.
Yeah.
So, you can say that they both had to play on the same field, but the thing is, that impacts the defensive line a lot more than anybody else, and we had a better defensive line. They weren't going to get through our offensive line anyway, so that's a nullified fact. And then you get our defensive line that couldn't get to the quarterback. They had 0 sacks after having 28 or 30 sacks or whatever the hell they had. Some crazy. No, they had like 75 sacks. Yep. Yeah. So ridiculous.
Here's
Can't
the
believe
cherry
that I have
on
to deal
top,
with it again.
sir. The cherry on top. This groundskeeper was the head groundskeeper for the Chiefs.
Oh, he's a lifelong Chiefs fan.
There you go.
Yeah.
So bullshit. Collusion. We got robbed.
Look,
All
we're
right.
talking to BravBro people who can piece things together pretty
get it.
easily. You guys know what you're doing.
Connect the dots here. The Eagles got screwed. The Chiefs stink. That's my rose. My thorn is a 1-star review from KEA764314. 1 star. She says, love listening, even when I don't always agree.
That's it?
I think she meant to do 5 stars and she did 1.
Is this golf?
I don't know. But that made me laugh because
You get the first star.
we haven't gotten a 1-star in a while, and I was like, oh no. And I looked, I was like, oh, it's still a good one. So that's my thorn.
Well, look, now we know you can go back and edit that. So if you're listening to this, feel free to go back and edit that one.
You give us a 5 or keep it a 1. I think it's kind of funny.
Either way, it's kind of funny. We don't really care about those things.
Anyway, on to you,
Shooting
sir.
it over to me.
Shooting it to the goots.
Shooting to the goots. That should be a new segment. So my rose is multiple people who have reached out over the last week to make sure I'm okay.
I saw that. There was a lot on Twitter.
Of comments, a lot of DMs, just making sure my voice is better, how I'm feeling. You know, you never quite feel the love as much as you do when you're sick and people are reaching out to you.
It's weird. It's like in a good way that we have, anytime we complain about something or something's going on in our lives and we talk about it on the podcast, we have a very extensive support system now, and like all of you guys check in with us, and it's so sweet. Like,
yeah, no, it's funny because I completely abandoned all of my problems last week and just decided to go to the shore.
Yeah, it's
like
smart.
Thursday, I checked the car wasn't working. Screw it, going to the shore. Forget about it. I had a great time at the beach. Came back whenever the hell I came back, Monday night or whenever, and the car still wasn't working. Right back into it, just like, oh God, now I don't have a car. I can't do this and that. So whatever. So it was very helpful that people are reaching out saying, I hope you're doing better, and I am.
He is. He
voice is back, and seems like the car might be back. So here we are. My thorn, little different approach on the thorn.
Okay.
Thorn goes to Bravo production and scheduling.
Oh,
what
I like
the
this
hell?
one. I
we
don't
get
know.
one
What the
fucking
fuck?
show.
Seriously.
Yeah, Martha's Vineyard's over, which I get. Like maybe they didn't expect people to really be into that, maybe miss it, but we missed it this week. Atlanta just doesn't air.
Is that because of the 4th of July?
It's gotta be.
Why?
But it doesn't make any sense because the 4th was on Tuesday. Give us something. I guess they thought people were going to be off Monday, so ratings might go down, whatever. I understand the thinking behind it, but after you do all of those things and then you look at this week in a nutshell and you say, wow, we have one show this week and it's OC. You got to do something.
The weirdest part is Roni is airing next week.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't you put that this week? Make it Wednesday night.
Yeah,
everyone's back from the 4th of July. They're hungover. They feel like shit. They're watching TV.
Yeah, that starts the 16th, so that's actually not even
2 weeks.
Yeah,
but it's done.
I know.
Put it out now. We're in a standstill.
Yep.
I don't like
not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So at least for our, we can go back to the full-on 2 episodes a week sort of format, which we grew accustomed to. But there's just not enough content for us to cover for that much. So the lives have been really good.
The lives have been great.
We'll continue the lives because you guys love them. But yeah, so that thorn goes right out to Bravo scheduling because that made no sense. And when Steele and I were doing our homework, if you will, we realized that there was no Atlanta, and we were like, what are we going to do? So thankfully we're creative, but we're not that creative. So don't do this again to us because we do not know what to do.
We'll run out of ideas in a hurry. But before we get to our personal Q&As, why don't we discuss what's been going around on pretty much every Bravo account. You can't go on Instagram without reading about it. Kyle and Mo. They have been, or they are officially separated now.
Yep.
As we learn more about this and the ins and outs of it, Morgan Wade enters the picture. Morgan Wade is a country music singer, and I guess her and Kyle met on vacation.
Do you know who Morgan Wade was before this?
I'd never heard of her, no.
All right.
That doesn't mean she's not good. I've never heard a song of hers. I will listen, but no, I'd never heard of her before. But I guess she's like a 25-year-old country music artist. They met either on vacation or I forget what they said, but since then, I guess they really connected and they've been seen together working out. They've been seen together on vacation. They've been seen together pretty much everywhere. They're posting pictures. They're doing Instagram lives together. So a lot of speculation has been coming out that all started with Kyle posting a picture post-workout without her wedding ring.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that that is grounds for a holy shit, she's cheating on Mo?
No,
Holy shit, her and Mo are done.
No, and that's, if you listen to her live last night, I think that's kind of my problem, and I'm worried about it. And we talked about it even during Scandival. We're worried that everything's going to go in this direction, that people saw everything develop with the Sandoval Raquel thing, and now they're going to start applying it to other shows. And like, I understand that that's human nature. You're just going to start doing those things because you were kind of trained to do that for 3 months during VPR. But to do it now, and then also it seems like Bravo's kind of like leaning into it with them picking up the cameras again. I don't want to see us go down this hole because, one, I don't think it's that captivating. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a cheating aspect, sure. I think we agree there. If there's absolutely an affair going on and Kyle's been with Morgan for months and the whole reason that her and Mo are separating is because their relationship is not unacceptable or inappropriate, then that's one thing. Then I get that. Then we kind of have to see the fallout because that's kind of what you signed up for a reality show. But if she's just friends with Morgan Wade and grew together in whatever sort of capacity, but it's all friendship and platonic, and her and Mo are just having a really hard time and they're separating, you don't have to pick up the cameras.
No,
I don't care. Like, I don't need to see. What are you going to do? You're not going to have Andy in a sit-down one-on-one with the two of them and discuss how it affected their marriage and everything. Like, that's not going to help anyone.
Well, I do want to see what's going on between the two of them, but I don't know if you need to pick the cameras back up after filming has closed. Obviously, because this is happening in their actual lives, like, we do need to check in with it. That's part of the show, and Mo and Kyle have been kind of a mainstay for a really long time. And that's, I guess, why I start to question some things, is because the more that's coming out, it seems too clean cut for me. There's too many neat and tidy details that are kind of following each other. Like, you get one thing drop, and then like the next week there's another thing that drops, and none of it's like scathing.
Yeah.
But it all seems to be wrapped up in this nice little package. And like, you get a publication like People Magazine to post about this story. They're the ones that wrote it. People Magazine is known. They don't just put out like smut. They're not just going to throw out shit like a tabloid. And if they don't have actual evidence, then they don't just put things out there.
Sure.
I'm not saying it's like the most reputable source ever, but it's also not, like Page 6 that's going to run whatever.
Yeah, I think it's also just kind of difficult because, again, kind of juxtaposing it to the VPR thing, we at least were watching VPR at the time.
Right.
So we could start immediately looking for clues and this and that. We're not watching Beverly Hills right now. We haven't gotten a whole lot of information out of how the season's going. So I don't really want to label it and say that there was nothing going on the entire season and this is why they're doing this and they're picking up the cameras because they got nothing out of Kyle the whole time. If we start to watch it and there is really no indication of what's going on with Kyle and Mo, and it's a pretty good season and we get more out of Kyle because she's not bogged down by Rinna. She's not bogged down by Kathy being there the whole time. She's able to kind of like grow into herself, which is kind of weird to say for somebody who's been on the show for as long as she has. But if we get a good season out of it, I don't want to have this dark cloud hanging over it. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what people are going to do. They're going to ignore the good parts of the season that we were hoping that we would get after last year's terrible, terrible run of 28 episodes. If we get a good season and everybody's complaining because they're not getting enough Mo and Kyle, that's going to be annoying.
So here's how I'm looking at it. If we see a good season of TV and we see a good showing out of Kyle, I actually put more truth to what's happening now. That, to me, would tell me that things are actually going on behind the scenes. If we watch a bad season of Beverly Hills and it starts to pick up like 3/4 of the way through and now we start to get rumors and this and that, that to me points to, okay, they knew this season was kind of struggling.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this news comes out to a reputable source such as People Magazine. What that tells me is somebody within Bravo probably leaked this with the intention of putting Kyle on the spot, making her actually talk about her shit because the season was struggling.
That makes sense.
So if that's the case, then like I'm going to base it off of, honestly, like as we go through the season, I'm going to check in with this and be like, okay, I'm starting to think that this was planned. Or if it's a good season, I'm going to be like, all right, this makes more sense that maybe this is real.
So yeah, you just brought that up. Let's talk about this. Do you think that it's actually real? Like in your opinion, do you think it's real, or do you think that it's fabricated for the show to give Kyle a storyline that she's desperately needed for years now?
Here's what I think. I think that the separation is real. I do. I think that that's an actual thing that's happening. Mo went on Zach's podcast, No Filter with Zach Peter, and they talked about it. And he was it seemed genuine because he was talking about the strain that reality TV puts on a family. He's like, look, we've been married for 27 years. We've been on the show for, what did he say, 13, 15? 13?
I think it's 15, yeah.
Let's go with 13. He says, we've been on the show for 13 years. Obviously, it's going to put a strain on things. It's hard. We work through it. We're a very strong unit. But yeah, this has been a really tough year for us. So we're looking at things. We love each other very much. We support each other very much. We're just looking how to get through this. And to me, that's a good answer. It's something that's both supportive and deliberately ambiguous, so you don't really know what's going on. Like, he didn't give too much info, which tells me he's not trying to drag Kyle, which is great. So I think the separation's real. Now, the Morgan Wade of it all, and another thing was posited on Zach's live that I don't know if it's true or not, but it would make a lot of sense to me. Kyle is sober now, and she talks about her sobriety, which I love. During your journey in sobriety, a lot of people have a sponsor. Now, this person could be her sponsor, maybe. Like, that would make more sense if they're as close as they are, if they're together as much as they are. That would be a reason. I'm not saying she is. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm not trying to tell people what's up. I'm saying if that is the case, one, it makes sense. And two, that's information that, while it's none of our fucking business, at the same time, it would be nice to know just so people could back the fuck off. Because if she's trying to get sober, she's trying to stay sober, and that's her sponsor, and she's doing the work, and she's working hard, and it's going well, the last thing that we need to do is derail anything by digging into it too far.
Right. And I think that what we're going to end up getting is that there's a lot of truthful components to it. And there's a lot of things that might be smoke and mirrors. There might be things that Bravo's kind of producing or playing up. We don't really know until we get to watch the show. And look, I mean, at this point, we're all experts at looking for affairs on TV, on reality shows. Like, that's what we're going to do. But
that's what the whole OC episode's about.
But when it comes to these shows, and we do this time and time again, usually when there is some sort of smoke somewhere, there's a fire.
Yeah, there's
so we might be misguided in certain things, but what?
I think I got it.
You just cracked the case?
No, I don't. I don't want to like put that much emphasis on it, but I think the separation's real, and I think that Kyle realized that might drum up a little bit of speculation, and then if she leans into it a little bit by posting Morgan more and more, just to kind of like, she's not giving any solid answers, but she's giving little hints maybe, just to kind of string us along, knowing that it's just furthering
You would
the
expect
season.
that from a vet, but
It's a vet
also
move.
you could look at it in a different light. You could look at it like she is genuinely happy and she is dating Morgan for all we know.
That could be it too.
This is her starting to, I'm separated from Mo. I'm going to start posting with somebody that I love.
Yeah.
We don't know. Because there is also, there was another story, which we don't know if there's a whole lot of validity to it, but apparently Morgan's ex-girlfriend was at a show of hers, and Kyle was the quote-unquote other girl, and Morgan's ex was yelling, "Get that girl out of the show. I can't believe that she's here." But we don't know that it's definitely Kyle. We know that Kyle was at the show, but we don't know that Morgan's ex was talking about that, and Morgan's ex isn't talking about it. So the whole thing just kind of stinks a little bit. If it is all for the show, kudos to them, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I want to say that kind of sucks and that's annoying.
At least they care about their job enough.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, at least you've been on the show for 13 years. You finally figured something out here, Kyle. Like,
yeah, you finally cracked
You gave
the
us a
code.
storyline, even if my biggest problem is that the indication that Bravo's picking up their cameras 2 weeks after filming because this information's dropping does say to me that the show sucked, or at least Kyle sucked in the show. Now, when it comes down to the People magazine, like you said, they're reputable. They know what's going on. They have good people that work for them. This isn't Page Six. This isn't The Sun. The people who are writing for People, God, we're saying People too much. They're getting information, like you said, from Bravo, from people close to Kyle, whatever. Bravo execs have to know what's going on.
They know exactly what's
These articles
going on.
are not written overnight. There is a lot that goes into them, especially when it's about cheating and separation and divorce and things like that. They have to get their facts straight when you work for something like People, not Page Six. So the fact that that was leaking and Bravo assuming that they knew about it, didn't push it at all during the season is kind of annoying to me.
No,
because that's where I am. That's where if they're picking up their cameras, that means that they knew about this and they weren't pushing it at all during the season and didn't get enough. And now that the news broke, they're picking it back up, which is, I don't know. I just don't want to get in the habit of doing this every time that something, I guess, important happens to one of the castmates. and it's in close proximity to when production wraps.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the cameras every time somebody stubs their toe.
Well, here's the thing.
It's going to be annoying.
Here's the thing. All right, while I agree with you, at the same time, if this works, okay, let's look at it from the lens of we get to the end of the season, we see the extra footage, and we're like, holy shit, that was a bombshell. Like, that's a different story. So I think that while you're right to be cautious and not want to go down a road that sets a precedent where it's like, okay, now every show has an extra 2 weeks of filming out of nowhere just because somebody stubbed their toe, as you said, that's one thing, but if it works, that's a different story.
I don't know if it's going to work, and I feel like I might be the only one who remembers this, and we talked about it last night. The middle of VPR sucked. Those first couple episodes were great because it's like, whoa, we got like earth-shattering news. Let's look for all the signs and indications that Raquel and Tom are cheating. Like, there's something going on here. We have to look for these things. Once that initial excitement died down after the first and second episode after the news break in March, it was boring as shit. We didn't care. We wanted to get to the point where we picked up cameras. There's so much more going on. We got one episode after all of that.
But it doesn't
matter. I know, but those 8 to 9 episodes stunk.
But it doesn't matter.
They were so bad. It does matter.
No, it doesn't. You know why?
Because people will remember that as the season.
And the ratings were through the roof all year. So that's all that matters.
Somebody who enjoys watching TV, I didn't enjoy any of those episodes.
Which is fair. But again, it's not about us.
It is. It's always about us, baby.
It's always about you. It's your world. We're just living in. Very true. But now it's time to get personal. You guys asked us a lot of personal questions. So I'm going to call this the BravBro Down. We're going to BravBro down with my BravBro, Scoodle McDoodle. Oh, wait, fuck. Scoodles McDoodles.
Scoodles McDoodles.
Scoodles McDoodles. We'll go back and forth. I'll read one and then you read one.
All right. I like it.
All right, let's start it out from Basic Burnitz. Biggest ick. What's your biggest ick, Shoots?
Oh, biggest ick. I always, maybe you view it differently.
I'm not going to lie, though. The first time I read this, I thought it said biggest dick, and I was like, we're not going to tell you that.
Go measure that. Give us a couple minutes. You got a ruler?
I got a tape measure.
Yeah, there we go.
No.
Yeah, biggest ick for me is always, you got to view it in like maybe somebody that you're dating. Like, people have icks with friendships. Yeah, I don't really give a shit about that, but icks with that's how I'm going to answer it anyway.
I don't, okay.
All right, I'm just talking you through my process here. Biggest ick with someone I'm dating would probably be, I don't know, probably just lying about stupid shit.
That's
people
so
who
generic.
Fine, embellishing on stories.
Okay, I like that one.
That actually can be across the board too.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's anybody. When they further a story for the sake of furthering the story, but it's not worth furthering, and you can tell that they're just adding stuff.
Not told the story in the first place.
This is just a bad story.
Yeah.
This is simply just not worth telling.
Yeah.
My biggest ick is pajamas in public.
That's a good one.
I hate when people wear PJs in public. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why. Look, I'm not saying that I get dressed to the nines every time I leave the house, but at least put on enough clothing to make it look like you give a half a shit.
That's a good point. Yeah, pretty much at Walmart, you're 1,000% going to run into somebody.
I love Walmart, 1, and 2, I love people watching at Walmart.
Yes.
Don't shit on Walmart. Walmart is great.
No, Walmart's great.
It's underutilized in the North because in the South, we all go to Walmart. In the North, I go to Target.
Yeah.
Target's great, too. Free plug for Target and Walmart.
Target's great.
There.
It's got a different air about it. Like, people are wearing normal clothing, and things are actually on the shelves where they're supposed to be.
Walmart's like the Wild West of Target.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's just shit everywhere, and there's people running around in pajamas, and usually Cookie Monster pajamas. So, yeah, no, that's actually a really good ick. Here we go. This is actually a really good one. Mostly because I barely even have to answer.
Oh, fuck.
Steel.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tattoo?
Oh, that's a good one. I just got a new one that I love, but I can't name it. My favorite's probably the cow skull on my leg, or the bull skull, whatever you want to say. I really like it. The guy did a great job. The line work is impeccable. So probably that one. The one that has the most meaning, probably my poppy flowers for Poppy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the new one. I was like,
no, okay. The new one, no. The new one is very much just like, oh, this fits the scheme. But I used to be very specific in what I would get. Now I'm a little bit more loose, but I also like all of my tattoos.
Right.
So I'm afraid I'm going to fuck up the flow at some point. But I do also have a sneaky one that I love. That's probably number 2
I know what you're
after the
talking about,
poppies,
yeah.
and it's on my ass, and it says Rebel, and that's because I can't actually say why.
Yeah, just leave it at that.
Yeah, it says Rebel on my
Because
butt
he's a
cheek
rebel.
because I'm a
cause.
bad boy. That's why.
James
I'm
Dean.
a little bad boy.
Good for you. The follow-up to that question was, does Shooter have any tattoos? Yes, I have matching tattoos. One is a star around my belly button. The other one is a star around my butthole.
Yep.
Yep.
That's true. Seen them both.
In one hole, out the other.
Oh, I like this one from Tracita. Favorite bar food?
Oh, yeah. Wings.
Let's get into it.
The easy answer is wings. Mozzarella sticks.
Not a lobster corn dog?
Yeah, lobster corn dog.
Fucking Tom
Jesus
Schwartz and
Christ.
Smandies.
How does that actually work? Did we ever think about, is it still on a stick? And if it's on a stick, did they
I
make
know how
a
it
rod
works.
out of lobster meat that they then coated?
No, all you have to do is you would put it in a bowl. You would put some egg in there as a binder. You would sprinkle some breadcrumbs on it. You would salt, pepper, I'm assuming some parsley, maybe a little bit of lemon squeezed in there. You'd mash all that together. Maybe a little bit of mayo to help with the binding process. Then you would form it around a stick and you'd stick it in the deep fryer. That's how you'd make a lobster corn dog, in my opinion. I mean, you'd have to roll it in the breading again in like an egg wash, and then you'd deep fry that bad boy.
I
and
don't know
stick
why.
it in the
I
lobster
knew
roll.
what it was too, and I don't know why. You did a really good job of explaining exactly how to make it.
Yep.
But just the visual
That's
of
how
all
I
of
would
those
make
things.
it.
Yeah, no. My love is definitely mozzarella sticks. I love them all shapes and sizes. Wings, obviously, if you've got good wings, and there's a couple of places around here that have really good wings, I could sit down and eat 25, 30 wings, just sit there, and that'll
easy.
be the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Bring back the wing bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it back.
Last time we had it, we won the Super Bowl. That was the last one.
Just saying, Philly.
Yep.
You know,
Did you answer?
read the signs.
your
My
answer?
favorite bar food is wings. Is such a standard go-to. Outside of that, I love when they do them right. I love a good slider, but I feel like
yeah.
a lot of people fuck them up.
Yeah.
But when people get sliders right, it's the perfect amount of like appetizer without getting full, and they're delicious. But I would say 95% of restaurants fuck sliders up.
Yeah, and every once in a while you'll get one, like a restaurant that'll have a variety, and you can do 3 sliders and pick and choose, and you can do one that's like a buffalo chicken slider. You can do one that's a burger. You can do one that's pulled pork. But I agree, most of them do it completely wrong. But I do love, a lot of places it's hard to fuck up a good pulled pork slider.
Pulled pork slider's good. I like that.
It's
I'm
usually
a
more
big
consistent. The
slider
burger ones, I feel like they overcook the burgers and they're like little hockey pucks.
Burger sliders are 99% of the time. I know I said 95, but 99% of the time, yes, they are little hockey pucks.
Exactly. Q for the bros. Were either of you in a frat?
Fuck no.
Fuck no
Absolutely
is the
not.
answer.
No, I got into more fights in college with fraternity guys than anybody else. And I know a lot of people don't get in fights.
Yeah.
But there was this weird thing at Ohio State between the athletes and the fraternities, and I don't really know why. I didn't start it, but I definitely got involved in it. For whatever reason, when we as a group of athletes would go to a frat, I guess we had a target on our back.
Yeah.
And
Well, that makes sense. If you just think about like what a frat guy is.
you know whose frat I got in the most fights with?
Civics?
Civics.
Yeah.
So our buddy from high school
we
went
went to
Ohio
that
State.
when I visited you
Yeah.
freshman year. We went to that frat.
Yes.
And I think we left early.
We probably did because I hated that frat.
I think
Those
we
guys were
pregame
all-
with them and then went somewhere else.
Those guys were all douche nozzles.
Big bar.
Yeah, Big Bar. Love Big Bar. And what else? The O Patio was great. And I finally figured out what the I asked our listeners a long time ago because we used to go on Wednesday nights to the O Patio. It's called Liquid Dope. They would give you this picture of just sugar and like 151. And they called it Liquid Dope. And you didn't feel or taste the alcohol at all. And as soon as you drink one of those, it's lights out. So we go to Liquid Dope night every Wednesday night and then have a horrible hangover Thursday for practice. And
Great.
wake up and do it all again on Friday.
Isn't that lovely? But no, yeah, neither of us were in frats. Honestly, it's sort of the same thing. Like I went to a smaller school, and I would see it's pretty much you have to be in a frat to have friends at the smaller schools. So if you didn't play sports, you joined a frat. And like I get it, like if you just want to be friends or whatever. Those frats were okay. They were still kind of douchey. But once I started visiting my friends at Penn State, because I went to school about an hour away from there, and my school was boring as hell. I went to Penn State all the time. Those frats sucked.
Yeah,
I mean,
the big school frats.
A guy died the one year because he like fell down the steps.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
yeah. There was a whole fucking
During
thing.
the hazing thing.
Yeah, it was like
I
it
remember
was
that.
my sophomore, junior year that happened. So yeah, the frats stink.
Yeah, no, we're not frat fans. And to Shooter's point, when I was at Ohio State, I was on the baseball team, so it's pretty much a fraternity within
Yeah,
itself. Like
exactly.
all I did was spend time with those guys because we had to lift and practice 24/7, 365. So fuck frats. Moving on. from, I like this one a lot. Kiariana one? Or Kyari, I don't know why I do this to myself. Kyariana one. How did you guys become friends? I love you two's friendship.
How did we become friends?
Yeah, how did we become friends? I actually don't
remember the
exact
moment. Yeah.
Was it football practice? Because that's the first time we would have hung out because we got preseason.
Yeah, probably preseason football practice. Yeah, I think it was definitely preseason football practice. And the funny thing for me was going to Steele and I went to a private high school, no big deal. But I was coming from the city and going out there, there's, it's a private school. There's a lot of like fancy kids that are fucking freshmen that are actually 16 years old that drive Lexuses. So I kind of clung to the people that were also from cities and stuff like that. I thought that Steele was like a city guy.
I give off the vibe.
Because he gave off like a blue collar vibe, which was really
that.
weird in spite of the hair. But so we became friends probably during football. And then later I realized that he was not from the city. So he was an imposter.
Imposter syndrome, for sure.
But now he actually has a way better city accent than I do because I lost it over years. A lot of training, a lot of practice.
Attaboy.
It's completely gone, and I can't even force myself to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I pride myself on my accent. A lot of people tell me it's more Delco, but I think that I'm pretty much downtown. I'm anybody. I could be the Northeast. I could be Roxborough. I could be Delco. You name it. Oh, woo.
Yeah, you can get mad about that. I'm from the Northeast. The Northeast is the same as Roxborough. Roxborough is the same as Delco. Everybody's the same.
Wow, you're going to cause us a riot.
The only one that's not the same is South Philly. South Philly is way different.
South Philly is, I will actually say that. South
those
Philly
other
is
three, it's the
recognizably
same
different. Oh, you're going to cause a lot of shit. I can hear Devin upstairs stomping around. She's from Roxborough.
Yeah, the Roxborough people think they're better than everybody else.
Wow. You're taking a lot of shots. Lisa listens too. She's going to hear that.
I don't care. I've also said it to both of them. I've said it to all of them. It doesn't matter.
That's true. But yeah, I think that's somewhere along the way. Then we played baseball together for a long time. So that's where our friendship like cultivated the most. Like we would room together on road trips and stuff. But yeah, we kind of hit it off. I don't really remember the intro though.
Yeah, I don't remember our first kiss either.
Yeah, I don't either. Should we reenact it just because we forget?
We can do the Shannon and Tamara kiss.
Nope. That was, you want me to lick your face real quick?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Close your eyes, YouTube. All right, you're up.
All right, this one comes from Chappie's 0907.
Okay.
Best memory of the two of you together.
Wow.
A lot to sift through.
I'll just go with the one that just popped in my head first. I will say some of my best memories with Shooter, and you guys do this to me. You pull the emotions out. I'm an emotional guy, but some of my best memories have been in the past few years just because I was gone for a while. I came back to Philly. We reconnected, and then like standing on stage with you at our live show, like just looking out at the crowd, and like the show was over and like people were clapping, just like in that moment, like holy shit, how the fuck did we get here kind of deal. And like to share that moment with one of your best friends is pretty exceptional. Like it's hard to put into words that moment just because it was like a look at what we did kind of thing.
Yeah.
We did it together, which was really cool. But I think my top one is either Florida trips in baseball in high school, or the one that popped immediately was my graduation party in Pocono.
That was a great time.
That was a really great time with all of our friends, and that's up there.
Yeah, that's got to be up there. So I'm going to get a little more specific with the Florida trip. So there was one day we this is like a two-parter, maybe a three-parter.
Oh my God, are you telling the story?
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the story. So Steele and I, as we alluded to.
None of those teachers are there anymore, so I think we're cool.
Yeah, I think we're fine. So we would go to Florida every year for spring training in March and spend a week down there, and we would stay at the Days Inn, and three of us would stay in a room, and it was two people in a bed and then one cot in the middle that you would sleep on. But by junior year, we were sort of seasoned at this point, and we found a specific room that had a connecting room. Yeah. To other people. So as juniors, we connected with the senior captains, and one specific day we went out and decided, wow, those Heineken kegs are really cool. Let's get one of those little mini Heineken kegs. Those things hold like 7 beers tops. Not even, maybe.
Max.
So
there was 12 of us.
And keep in mind, we're staying at a truck stop in Florida, Fort Pierce, Florida, if you're from there.
It's one of those hotels that when you open the door, you're outside.
Yes, exactly.
So it's a motel, I guess.
It was a motel, yes. So we decided, let's walk over to the store. Everybody had fake IDs. So we got one of those little Heineken kegs and some little mini cups, and we hunched down in a field between the gas station and the hotel and drank that. Then we continued to go back and drink at our hotel. And that night, it was like 2 a.m. We thought we were completely done. It was just the 3 of us in a room, or 6 of us technically with the connecting room. And our head coach knocked on the door. We scrambled around and tried to clean up all the empty beer cans because where else are we going to throw them? We can't just throw them in the garbage. Steele walks over, opens the door. Our head coach looks right down. And
hold on.
What's that?
Let me just, from my point of view on this one, I'll let you keep going after this. The knock at the door, there was probably like 20 players in our room at one point, and like our bathtub was full of Natty Light and ice, like 200 beers, like some ridiculous amount because we thought we were cool. So the night goes off without a hitch, like Shooter said. There was one fucking bottle left.
Heineken.
There was no. It was a Coors Light, and I'll never forget it.
I thought it was a Heineken.
It was a Coors Light bottle, and it was sitting right next to the door. So as soon as the door opens, our head coach is standing there, and I look him in the eye and was like, "What's up, coach?" He immediately just looks down and points at the bottle and goes, "What's that?" And I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And he goes, "You boys be in my room tomorrow, 7 a.m.
Yep.
Get rid of that," shuts the door, and leaves.
Yeah. So one of us, not me, was hiding in the bathroom.
Not me either.
Yeah. The third person that was in our room was hiding in the bathroom. And the next day we had to go meet our coaches at 7 a.m. I had a very serious talk. They threatened to essentially send us home, tell our parents, all the things, make sure that the board back at the school knew we were worried about getting kicked out or whatever. And then at the end of it, they said, "We're going to keep you, but no more fuck ups." And we decided it would be really funny if we played a joke on the other guys in the room and walked back with our heads down and acted like we were being sent home. So we started packing, and they walked in and saw us and were freaking out.
Yep.
And then we just decided to tell them we were fucking with them. We thought the story was over there. We had breakfast at the Golden Corral.
Yeah, as we always
And then
did.
we had practice afterwards in like 90-degree Florida heat. Steele's a catcher. I was playing second. The third guy was playing shortstop. Steele had to take balls in the dirt off a fungo bat about 5 feet away.
To explain that to people that don't know what a fungo is, my coach stood at the mound, and I was forced to get down on my knees in a blocking position behind home plate, and he took a bat and hit over 60 balls at me, and they would bounce in the dirt. Here's the kicker. If I flinched, he made me take off a piece of equipment. So if I had my shin guards on, my chest protector, my mask, I never had to take my mask off, but I did have to take my chest protector off. And this was the last one. He hit a line drive in my sternum, dropped the bat, and goes, "All right, we're good." Picks it up and tells me to pick the balls up.
Yeah, it's
I'll
like the
never
worst thing of strip poker you've probably ever played.
Yeah, that wasn't fun at all. But you forgot my favorite part.
Well, the two of us that were out there, we had to run double play drills.
Yeah.
Same concept, except our coach was standing 5 feet away from us, pounding balls, one-hoppers right at us, and they were just like firing off of our limbs all left and right. We were bruised the fuck up, and they made us go for like 15, 20 minutes while the rest of the team sat in the dugout and drank and had to watch, drank water, Jesus, and had to watch us do that. And that was probably traumatizing for them, which was probably the point.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of lessons.
But we did end up going back and drinking that night.
We did. I know. We got back. We're like,
not learn our lesson.
No, we got back. We're like, we're not going to do it. And someone's like, "Yo, we're going to grab beers." We're like, "All right, cool. We'll meet you there." But my favorite part was part of our penance was to go back to the hotel and write a letter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had to write a letter, and we had to tell what we did, where we got the booze, sign it, and date it. And our coach said, "If you guys fuck up from now until you graduate, I will pull these letters out, and I will give them to the board."
Yeah.
Now, when I graduated, our coach came up to me, shook my hand, said congratulations, and handed me my letter.
Yep. Completely forgot about the letter, honestly.
Whoa, what a story.
Yeah.
That's a great call.
Yeah, so that's the best. I think that's the best memory.
That's
a funny
mine
thing
too.
to share.
That's mine too. I think, yeah, that's a fucking wow. I forgot about that one. The last one is, someone said would love to hear stories of your high school shenanigans. There's one. We have way too many, like way too fucking many. We did way too much in high school. We might need to start a whole different podcast called How to Not Grow Up.
We were at a party for 4th of July the other day, and one of our friends who went to school with us, his wife said it sounded like we went to the Gossip Girl school.
I mean, honestly,
because anytime we start talking about what we did in high school,
we used to have keg parties during school.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like stuff we shouldn't have been done. It was a great time. I don't regret anything. But the last one's from RTSV93. I like that. I can read that one easy. Thank you. When and how did you become friends? We got that one. But what happened when you guys had a break?
Ooh.
So
break.
I got drafted out of junior college when I was 21. But when I went to Ohio State when I was like 18, I pretty much moved out of my house because baseball took over. Like when you play in college, in your summers, they send you to different leagues around the country to continue playing. And then you pretty much go from college to your summer league. You go home for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you go back to school for preseason. So I really didn't spend a whole lot of time in Philly. Then when I moved to Texas to go to junior college to try to get drafted, and I did get drafted, I didn't come back to Philly ever.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of, a lot happened. That's also when I developed a drinking problem, and that's a whole different podcast for another day. I'm happy to dive into all that shit. If you guys actually want to hear about my story and like my sobriety and all that stuff, let me know in the comments or the messages. I'm happy to put something up that kind of explains how I got to where I am, because it's a really long story and one I don't really want to get into right this second, but I'm more than happy to talk about it. But essentially, after all my shenanigans were over, I went to rehab outside of Philly towards Reading and Karen. Amazing place. If you need help, go check out Karen. It's a wonderful place. But saved my life, got me back on track, moved back into my parents' house for the first time since I was 18. I moved out of my parents when I was 18 years old. I moved back into my parents' house when I was 28. I turned 28 in rehab with a kid, going through a divorce and a drinking problem, and no job.
Yeah.
That's where my life went.
Yeah.
So
a hell of a 10-year stretch.
There's more to that story, and I'm happy to discuss it. If you guys want to hear about it, maybe I'll do like a separate video at some point, but let me know. Happy to talk about it. Happy to talk to any of you if you have an issue with anything sobriety related. I am always here to chat with anybody. So reach out if you want to, but that's a story for a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while you were gone, I just carried on with my life.
Yeah, Shooter was doing Shooter stuff, being Shooter Magooter and Scoodle McDoodles.
No, yeah. As you know, once Steele got back, it was right back into it. So there was no cause for concern or anything like that.
I will share this one because this is kind of like a funny tie it all together moment. And were you there at Campbell's that night?
I think so, yeah.
At first. So I was back for like 2 months and I hadn't seen anybody. I guess like obviously the rumor mill was going around. So people had heard I was home. They kind of heard about what was going on, but didn't really know the ins and outs like too much. But they'd heard that I just got out of rehab and all that stuff. So 2 of my friends, Shooter one of them, my other buddy Phil texted me, and it was after a wedding, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I had just gotten back to my parents' house, so I was living there at the time, getting my life back on track, and you guys texted me and said, hey, we're at Campbell's, which is down the street. Not sure. We heard you're home. If you want to come out and say what's up, like, we'd love to see you. I hadn't been to a bar yet since I got out of rehab, so I wasn't sure I would go. Went down, talked to my stepdad. I said, yo, dude, I'm going to go. I got my phone on me. If it feels weird, I'm just going to say hi and leave. Like, as communicative as I possibly can be. Like, I just want to go because I want to see these guys. Like, are you cool with that? He's like, yeah, just be careful. Like, let me know how you're feeling. Like, come back home. We'll talk about it, all that good stuff. So I'll never forget, I pull up to Campbell's and I park on the street. And there's these 2 ladies walking into the bar. And I'll never forget, when one of them was walking in, I was like, wow, that girl's really pretty. Like, who is that? Lo and behold, I walk in, and Devin and I went to high school together, and we dated in high school, and we kind of went our separate ways for a while and, like, found each other again when I got home. But I remember looking at this girl when she's walking in, just thinking, wow, that girl's gorgeous. Walk into the bar, and of course, it's Dev. And I haven't seen her in, like, 8 years at that point. I walk in, I'm like, yeah, of course it would be you. So I end up having a blast with you guys. Like, it's so, like Shooter said, we fell right back into everything. Everything felt natural, normal, like we hadn't ever left high school. Honestly, it was awesome. I loved it. And I remember getting home to my parents' house, and I go up to my room, which is my brother's room, because my room was turned into an office because I wasn't home.
Makes sense.
So I'm sitting in my brother's room, eating a bag of Smart Food popcorn in sweatpants. Technically, it's the guest room now, but it's my brother's.
In your pajama pants.
In my pajama pants. And I'm like, I have my phone up, and I'm like, I'm going to text Dev. And I'm like, I look around my situation. I'm like, what the fuck do I have to offer?
Yeah.
And what the fuck am I going to say? I'm sitting in my parents' home at 28 years old. I just moved back with a drinking problem. I don't have a job yet. I don't know what to say to this girl. I shit you not, as I'm thinking that, my phone goes, psst, and Dev texted me first.
Ayo. And the funny thing about that story is Dev was mad. Obviously, we invited her, and I forget who, maybe it was Amanda, invited her to Campbell's.
Yeah.
when you walked in and after you had left, she was pissed that we didn't say that you were coming.
I was pissed you didn't tell me she was there.
Fuck off, both of you.
Oh, fuck you.
And I remember her being mad because she, quote unquote, said, I would have wore something a little nicer and did my makeup. I thought I was just hanging out with you guys. I didn't need to do all that.
No, she looked
and
great.
Steele walked in. I was like, well.
No, she looked amazing. Still does.
Yeah.
And that's how we reconnected. I chased her around for a year after that, trying to convince her to go out with me. She finally did, and now we're married. So
yep.
There you go. Is that personal enough for you guys? Is that in depth enough into our lives?
I think so.
Can you leave us alone now? I'm just kidding. I'm totally
We asked
kidding.
for this.
Yeah, and I like that. I hope that you guys enjoyed this portion because I like diving into our shit a little bit every now and then, and this was the opportunity to do so. But what's up, bros? Steele here to talk to you guys about ZocDoc. Now, if you listen to the podcast or if you saw our live the other week, you'll know that I got stung in the hand by a hornet while on a very lovely hike with my wife. And that hornet blew my hand up to the size of a water balloon. It looked really gross. And I didn't know what to do about it. I've never been stung by a hornet before, and I've never had that reaction to a sting before. So I was panicking. What am I going to do? How am I going to get help? You know what I did? I went to ZocDoc because ZocDoc is the place to go when you have questions on what doctor you need to see. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, treat almost any condition you're searching for, such as a hornet sting. And these docs all have verified reviews from actual, real patients, not bots. The average wait time to see a doctor booked is just between 24 and 48 hours. That's it. You can even get a same-day appointment. Like I said, when I don't know what doctor to choose, when I need something, when I'm ailing, I go to ZocDoc. Go to ZocDoc.com/bros and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/bros. ZocDoc.com/bros. Without further ado, I guess let's talk about Bravo now.
Yeah, let's get back to it.
So, all we had this week was OC. I will say I am a fan. This week kind of sold me on it. I like this show. I like the characters. I like the drama. It does not seem produced. It seems like Tamra likes to push the envelope a little bit and is kind of the shit stirrer as we're seeing, but it doesn't feel fake to me, and that's what I like.
Nothing feels fake, and we're also getting it, the girls' trip right out of the way very early on in the season, which is interesting too. And I feel like girls' trips in general, when we get those, for the most part, they're not really that bad. We get what we really want from the show. They have fun together. They're drinking every night. They're carrying on. They're doing cool activities. We get to get a little bit of the drama when it's not produced. And these women have nowhere to go when something comes up, as we see later in the episode. So we get everything. They don't get to hide from the cameras, and they can't hide from each other, which is exactly what we want. And I fully agree with you. It seems like we're finally moving out. Maybe it's just an OC thing, but maybe we're finally moving out of the whole overproduced drama bullshit. Everything seems organic. You get to see why these women are choosing sides, whose side they're choosing, and the understanding of why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Pretty much all in one. And I can't stress this enough. It's easy to watch.
It is a very easy watch, yeah.
There's not, obviously, we're new to the show overall, but we know most of them anyway. I would say that it would be a little bit nicer if Emily was there. Obviously, she had their COVID issues, but I like Emily a lot too, and I like that they didn't just completely leave her behind. They got her a little bit of a storyline here in this episode. So overall, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I have changed my tune on it from episode 1 till now. Episode 1 was just so slow for me that I was like, meh. And then now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to know the characters a little bit more. The drama seems real, and I think that's also because every woman on this show is so sensitive. If you say anything that challenges them, they clap back instantly. But case in point, we start out, Heather is still pissed that Taylor was allegedly talking shit about her career. Now, if we go back and watch these scenes, was there a little sarcasm involved? Sure. Was Taylor at the forefront of insulting Heather? No. She really wasn't. And Tamra's the one that arguably took a shot. She's like, she hasn't been in anything since the 1900s. Tamra says, no, I said in 1990s. No, you said 1900s, which implies it has been hundreds of years since you've been on TV.
Yeah, and that's kind of what she was going for, and that's why she was doing it. I think that after being able to sit with this after last episode and now this, I think that Heather's just being super, super sensitive to
She's
it. And
just
I
insecure.
understand that. If this was it in a nutshell and somebody was just talking about her acting career and they took it upon themselves to look at IMDb and go after it, that's one thing. I get that. Because that's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? But we know the reason that Taylor's even commenting on it in the first place is because of how Heather responded to her invite to get back into acting and join me for this movie. We'll be able to get through it. We'll get your feet wet. We'll make sure that everything's all right. And I know that you're going to be a good actress and you're going to do a good job. Heather kind of scoffed at that and she made jokes about that.
Yeah, she
so
started
if anybody has the right to laugh a little bit about it and be a little sarcastic about Heather's resume, if you will, it's got to be Taylor, and I'm completely fine with that. Tamara is doing a little bit of shit stirring, but not as much as we're used to. Not to that
Not as much as she does later.
Yeah, exactly. Not to that like overproduced bullshit where she's just pushing and pushing and pushing. She makes another joke and she just kind of like tags along with Taylor, and I think that's fine. I think that Heather's just being overly sensitive about this because she's been out of acting for so long because she wants to get back into it. I understand where the sensitivity's coming from.
I guess, kind of, not really for me. It's like,
well,
again, this is just you being insecure about your resume where it's like, okay, settle down. They pulled up your IMDb. Clearly you feel a certain way because I don't know if you're not confident about it. Maybe it's because you've been out of the game for a while.
I think she's just not confident about it because she's been out of the game for a while.
But like that's,
then
I
don't
guess
make
this is
the
where I
comment.
get confused. It's because she's offering you a job.
Yeah.
Like this all she's acting like
She's
acting like Taylor offered the job in jest, and she
Yeah.
didn't. She
No, she
offered it
didn't.
to be a friend, and she's turning around being like, "This is insulting." It's not. It's insulting for you to treat the offer as a joke.
That's why firmly on Taylor's side. I'm not even going to say Tamara's side because Tamara's just shit stirring. Firmly on Taylor's side, and I think Taylor doesn't even think it's a big deal, which it isn't.
It's not.
Obviously, Heather's making it a little bit more of a big deal. Gina starts to stir it a little bit more. But overall, it's not that big of a deal, and I understand why Heather's sensitive about it. I don't understand why she decided to poke fun at it when Taylor offered her the job. So those two things going together means that you're not in the right way to be offended by this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think it's interesting and weird that the next scene is Tamara and Heather in the bathroom, and Tamara lies. She lies to Heather's face, and Heather just believes it. And we see her talk about it later in the show. She's like, "Well, I talked to Tamara, and she said she didn't do that. I can't believe that she would actually say that to me, and then she'd be lying to me. So like, what am I supposed to do? Not take her word for it?" It's like, yeah, probably not. She has a pattern, and all this stuff starts coming out, and we'll get to that. Let's get there. So the next scene, Tamara and Shannon, they're in the kitchen, and I wrote shenanigans. Get it? Shenanigans.
God.
But Heather, again, I think that we're seeing, and I wonder if this stems from the fact that her life's getting shaken up, like overall, because the kids are leaving.
Yeah,
and
the
it's
empty nest stuff. Yeah.
The empty nest stuff. I think that's coming to light because then the first thing she says is, "I hope I don't get iced out," because Shannon and Tamara are reconnecting. It's like, okay, that makes more sense to me now with the acting thing because clearly she's just feeling a type of way overall because it's a big life change. And I don't think she's handling it. I don't want to say she's not handling it well because I don't know what that's like. I can't speak on that.
Right.
I just think maybe it's rocked her a little bit more than she thought it would, and she's trying to gain her traction back and figure out what she wants to do. But clearly with this comment, she's a little shaky.
Yeah, and I think that all of that makes sense. Now, if I'm Heather, I'm in the back of my mind thinking, well, ultimately this isn't going to end up well. Ultimately, Tamara and Shannon are going to be at odds again. And when they're at odds again, they're going to lean on me to talk about the other person. And that's pretty much how this is going to go. It's just a cycle of endless events. But I don't have an issue. I mean, like, we've seen, it's almost like we're seeing in real time Shannon breaking down and accepting Tamara back as a friend.
We did
Last
watch it over this
episode, we watched it fully. Last episode, you could see that she was hesitant. Obviously, drinking helps that a little bit because you're more open. You're going to talk about things. But even still, in that moment when Tamara's yelling across, throwing gummy bears, which is funny, throwing gummy bears at her, she's still a little hesitant. She's like, yeah, you know, we're right now, yeah, this is fine. And then they tackle each other on the stairs and blah, blah, blah. And it looks like everybody's having fun. I'm here for it. I like that. I think I'm just speaking from a point of I'm so tired of these women just continuing to dislike each other in all of these shows and refusing to ever find a resolution.
Smooth it over, right?
Smooth it over, become friends again, just get to a point where it's not an issue every time because we're tired of the storylines. If this was going to go down that path, we'd be annoyed by it. So I'm happy that we're getting the inverse of this and showing them come back together because that's what we need more than ever. We need some feel-good stories.
I agree. but with something we're going to see later, I have to call it out with Tamra. We'll get there, and I'll.
Oh, it doesn't mean that I
remember
like
this
Tamra,
moment.
but
No,
yeah.
I know, but it's just to this point. I think more so than that. I don't think you. But we get Shannon, Tamra, and Heather, and they're talking about Jen and Ryan, and we get some pretty big bombshells dropped here, and we find out that Jen allegedly called Tamra at one point and said he cheated on me, and she said, "Well, why are you still with him?" But Heather's like, "Oh, well, they were actually on a break." But that's a very different story if they were on a break versus Jen calling Tamra and saying, "Hey, I just got cheated on."
Right. I think it's damage control at this point, and that's
I do
kind of
too.
what we're seeing with Jen. That's kind of her MO at this
Overall,
point.
right?
Overall, with everything that comes to Ryan, she is assessing the things that have happened in the past, and look, maybe she doesn't do it anymore, but she found out that he cheated on her, and she called her best friends to complain about that. Somebody that knows both of them.
Somebody that should be a vault.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I guess not. But Tamra obviously got that call, and that happens. You can't now, years later, say, well, we were on a break like Ross and Rachel. It doesn't work that way. If you guys were really on a break and you found out, you wouldn't have said he cheated on me. You would have said, hey, we're on a break. I'm still kind of fucked up about this because he hooked up with another girl.
Once again,
That's a problem. If you phrase it like that, then later it's not going to come back and bite you in the ass. But you can't stand by it. This is what I'll never understand, and I get it, but whatever. You can't stand by a guy who you're also saying has cheated on every girlfriend in his entire life.
I know.
And continue to say he's not a one-woman kind of guy. You're dating him. You're going to be married. You're going to do whatever. You're going to share your life with this guy. You're standing by him through thick and thin for all of the things that he's doing and saying. But you're also leaving these little clues out there like, hey, it's almost like a help me situation where it's like, no, definitely, maybe subconsciously.
Oh, yeah.
But I think she reacts emotionally in the moment and then feels like she needs to retract it or cover it up in some way, which is what I think this whole thing is, where she's saying that they didn't have an actual physical relationship before
she keeps
her
leaning on it
before
so
her and
hard.
her husband broke up.
You know what she keeps leaning on specifically?
What's that?
We never even held hands. She says that line every single time. We
Yeah,
didn't even
it's funny
hold
'cause
hands.
I had that thought, and I was like, I probably had sexual relations with somebody that I didn't hold hands with first.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think plenty of people have. I don't.
You and I have never held hands.
No, and we fuck all the time. What? But I did think it was really funny that they juxtaposed that scene with Jen on a FaceTime, and the room's too dark to see Ryan. She's like, I can't even see you. He's like, oh no, it's just the lights. Lights are off. I'm like,
You've got a white T-shirt on. Yeah, I'm missing everything but you.
turn them lights on. Show the camera to the right a little bit. I don't know that. And again, I think that was just a good editing moment. I'm not saying there was a woman in bed with him, but it just was really funny to see that scene next to them talking about it. But that's when we get the biggest bombshell. Ryan allegedly walks into the gym, that cut, points at Tamra, and says to his buddy, I'm going to fuck her. And look, we as dudes, we all know I'm going to fuck her guys. Like, we all know those guys, and they're the worst. They're the worst type
By
of
far
person.
the worst. They're frat guys.
Yeah, those are frat guys. Those are the guys that will walk into a room and point at a girl and objectify her immediately and say, I'm going to fuck her.
Yeah.
Like they think they're hot shit. And those guys have the tiniest wieners in the world. That is a fact.
That's a fact.
So I'm calling it now. Ryan's got a teeny weeny.
Teeny weeny.
Teeny weeny. But anyway, the morning after, they're all hungover because they did. I'm actually impressed with the amount of shots that they put back.
Oh my God.
They started
I'm always,
counting.
I can't do that many shots.
They did eight shots of tequila. That's
no.
that's a half a bottle. Like
Yeah.
that's a good amount of
That's
tequila.
a good amount. And I like that.
That's like my breakfast 6 years ago.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now we're getting dark. No, like I thought the same thing. I mean, they started, obviously they had the whole night out and whatever, and then they came back and it was still like 12:45. The thing that I noticed was people started to change and Shannon just stayed in her full-on outfit, which was fine.
She had a fake eyelash stuck to her pajamas.
Yeah.
Her extensions were falling out, and you know what? Fucking loved that she leaned into it. She's like, yeah, I'm in shambles right now. I'm
She's
a
having
fucking
a
mess.
great time.
She's just bopping around the kitchen. You can tell she's in that gray area of still fucked up / hungover.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Loved those moments. But again, these are moments where you're like, cool. A girl's trip with fun.
Yep.
Yay. Like maybe that's why I love this episode as much as I did. But that's when we get to breakfast, which looked great. And I have to point out that Tamra says that she wants to get a ranch, and then we get a quick cut to her son, and we need like a redacted because we were talking about her son Ryan like a few weeks ago.
I think all we said was like good for you, like
Good
he
for
found his
you.
calling or whatever.
We didn't know the backstory behind him.
Yeah, no.
He stinks.
We missed on that.
We don't have to jump into this one, but yeah, fuck that guy. But Tamara says that she wants to have a ranch because, quote, it's a laid back life.
Yep.
There is nothing laid back about working a ranch.
You get a
owning
beach house.
ranch.
That's a laid back life.
That's a laid back life. A ranch life, you're up at 4 a.m. because you have to be out on the fields before the sun comes up just to have enough time in your day to do everything that is required to run a ranch. There could not be a less laid back lifestyle than that of a ranch hand. Yeah. So don't know where that came from. Just because you watched Yellowstone once does not mean that you can run a ranch. But whatever. The group splits up for activities, which is hysterical because half of them are doing fun stuff. I mean, the girls, they get to ride a horse, but then they had to shovel out an entire trailer full of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever done that?
No.
It's not fun.
No, I can't.
It's not fun at all.
I can't imagine it is.
It's not a great time, but it's funny that she sent half the group to go literally shovel shit while they got to go and play with hay and tractors, which is fun. But that's when you get Shannon and Tamara talking, and they're discussing the I'm going to fuck her thing that Ryan allegedly said when he walked into the gym. Shannon's almost in tears. Now, when I'm watching this scene, I'm not saying this didn't happen at all, because I could definitely see a guy that's known as the town whore walking into a gym, probably with one of those stupid spaghetti string tank tops that dudes like that wear, with a gallon jug of water and a duffel bag, because these are those guys. All right, and if you are a guy that has a duffel bag and you carry a gallon water jug into the gym and you wear those thin-ass, like, spaghetti strap tank johns, you are that guy.
Well, you might be that guy, but you still have time to change.
You have time to, you can become something better than that guy. First things first, throw that gallon jug in the trash. It doesn't make you look cool. It makes you look like a douche nozzle.
You used to be a piece of shit. People can change.
You can change. Who, me?
No.
Oh.
I think you should leave it.
They call me a piece of shit.
Slick back hair.
Oh, yeah. And they take a lot of selfies in the gym mirror. But so at lunch, we get to see Gina talk to Jen, and she is saying, like, I like you. I like Jen. I'm glad that we had the chance to room together so I can look past the infidelity. Now, as we know, Gina was cheated on. She feels a certain way about people making light of the fact that Jen seems to play almost a victim mentality in her affair, although she was the one committing the affair. So Gina has a problem with that because she got cheated on, which makes total sense to me. And, like, if I'm Jen, and I think what she's trying to do is make a storyline for herself. I think she's trying to be relevant by talking about all this shit. She's a newbie. She's trying to bring something to the table. I get that. But if I'm Jen, I'm not talking about my affair every fucking episode trying to vindicate myself. Like, you fucked up. And I liked in this episode the fact that she said it was really fucked up. And thank you, Gina, for bringing this to me as a friend so we can try to work through this. But I wish that would be more of a, hey, take accountability for what you did and then stop talking about it.
Yes, that would be nice. Now, I part of me thinks that Tamara brought Jen on because she knew that this was going on and completely railroaded her.
Of course.
But the fact that Jen is leaning into it, thinking that this is a good story that's going to make people like her, is wild. It's not weird. Only just like in that moment thinking that the other housewives are going to kind of cling on to you and be like, yeah, you know, you're saying all the right things, you're doing all the right things, you know, you're here now, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. At least you're open about it. I think what we're starting to see is obviously Gina is completely against that and she has a really hard time facing it.
But she's trying.
She's trying. She is trying, yes.
And I think has no reason to either.
No, she has no reason to either. But I think that I'm more in the court of like Heather sitting there just trying to hear the story and figure out that this is bullshit.
It is.
The whole thing has to be bullshit. When she keeps doing this, and now we start to get the little clips of Jen sitting down with Tamara and then Tamara talking to other people, there are inconsistencies to her quote-unquote truth here. And what we've heard from Tamara from day one is there was an instant connection, there was a physical attraction, they were missing together, they were doing all these other things together behind closed doors. Like, we know that there was more there, and I think that Jen thinks that she's smarter than the average bear, and she's not.
She's not.
This isn't throwing people off your trail. Maybe if you did it once, maybe if in that first episode you were pretty open about it with the new women that you're sitting down with, and you walk through it and you just say, look, like, I had a much worse affair, it was an emotional affair, blah, 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 whatever, and kept it at that, maybe people aren't going to dig too deep into it.
No, but you keep bringing it up.
Bringing it up, and you keep talking about it, and you keep pushing further and bringing out new information. it's going to be inconsistent because it's half of it's lies.
And that's what Tamra says, is that there's inconsistencies. And Gina says to Jen, look, I'm hearing this from the source pretty much.
Yeah.
Your friend, the one that brought you on the show, is telling me that there's inconsistencies, that she has a strange relationship with the truth. Like, that's a big thing to say about your quote-unquote friend. And Jen is pissed. She's like, oh, I can't believe she would say those things. Those tears were fake as fuck.
Oh,
she's like, I love Will. I'm like, stop it. That's not real. No one's falling for that shit. Again,
the tears were for herself because she
wants to feel like a better person, I guess.
I think
but
so.
That's where I'm like, all right, look, if you're gonna be this gung ho about your affair, you can't then now you feel bad.
Yeah.
Now you feel bad about Will. Like, no, come on. You can't sit there and act.
Like the only time that we're even talking about Will is when it's an accessory to you talking about your affair story.
Yes, exactly. This is the first time.
The husband that you cheated on shouldn't be an afterthought. He shouldn't just be a little piece of nugget of information in here that we're, oh yeah, there's a third guy involved here. Duh, it's your fucking husband. Like, that should be at the forefront. Like, you betrayed him, which I think is why Gina is having such a hard time too. Maybe she doesn't even realize it, is because she's casting Will aside entirely.
Yeah.
And only talking about Ryan and talking about how much, I know his past, but he does everything under the moon for me. Every time that I need something, he's always there for me.
Because he's cheating on you, and that makes it look better.
Yes, exactly. And it's the same behavior that you're doing right now by explaining it away and saying that you know that he's the right person for you and you're happy with him and you know that you can count on him. Like, none of it makes sense. And the more that she talks about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, I agree. And moving on from there, we get Shannon and Tamra again. This is kind of the scene where they officially reconnect. They agree to just move on, let bygones be bygones, because they do clearly have a connection with one another. So good to see, like you said, they're able to move past some shit finally. And then the ladies head out for a little camp out. And I really like this scene, not because of the ladies, but like, I would fucking love that. I would love that setup so much. I thought it was so cool, and I hated that they didn't appreciate it. They're cooking bison.
Of course they didn't appreciate it.
It's bison and trout. Bison, when done well, is so fucking good. Trout, when done well, is so good. Doing it over a campfire, letting the smoke infuse into it like that is the best way to do it. Like, that's a fucking meal. And they are acting like... I love when people get so grossed out at the process of cooking food that they eat regularly.
Right.
You eat fish all the time, but hearing the fact that you wait till the eyes turn white and pop like that, oh, you can't eat it now? Like, you're not eating the eyeballs. Like, grow up. I hate when people act like this about food. Like, ew, icky. It's fucking food. Grow the fuck up. Like, it gets on. We're eating bison. Yes, you're eating bison. It's a leaner cow. That's what bison meat is. It's a leaner cow. That's it. Like, it tastes delicious. It's very rich in flavor. If you cook it right, it's spectacular. Grow up. Fucking grow up. I can't, like... Are you going to cut the head off? Oh, my God. You can't eat it if it's staring at you? Like, that shit, it drives me nuts.
There's one way to look at it, and then there's another way to look at it where I think Tamra was naming all the animals. Like, this is Louis the fish.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't name the food.
No, that's a bad move.
Yeah, that's kind of sociopathic. But, to each their own, I guess. Just don't complain about eating good food that people are cooking for you. They're taking the time out of their day to work with you women. It's got to be a fucking nightmare. You see the two ranch hands sitting down like, Jesus, where's that bottle of wine?
Yeah.
Like, they're going through it, and you can't even be like, ooh, a new experience. I'll try this. It's got a head. I got eyes. Everything you eat that's meat has eyes. Okay? Okay. Moving on. This is when everyone's kind of standing around having a conversation, and Tamra says to Taylor, did we make fun of her? Like, did we make fun of her once? It's like, yeah, actually multiple times. But anyway, let's keep going with what Gina's saying. And Gina said, you guys were making fun. And they go, well, I mean, we were being sarcastic. That's making fun.
That is making fun.
That's making fun. Arguably, that's worse than just like making fun, because sarcasm comes a little stank on it.
Yeah, of course. And this whole scene was a little rough, just with Tamra gaslighting the whole situation.
Yeah, then she just gets defensive and starts yelling.
That's the biggest thing is if it came from Taylor, and Taylor's like, no, I wasn't poking fun, but we were looking at your IMDb after you scorned me for trying to invite you onto set so that you can get your acting career off the ground, and you completely laughed at me and made me feel like I was lesser than because you said it was cute. If Taylor did these things, I would be fine with it. Tamra being involved and making fun of her in the first place, all right, I get it. You might just fall subject to, in the moment with Taylor making a joke. Fine, whatever. You can apologize for that and move on. But sitting there and gaslighting her, saying that you didn't make fun of her when you did, and the fact that you're involved at all, is just your own doing. You're involved at this point. You could step out. You don't have anything to do with this. Just say, oh, yeah, maybe we did make a sarcastic comment. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But because you're going to see it later. I always think about these things. Like, you're going to see it later. Heather's going to see this episode and realize that, yeah, you were cackling at this. You were laughing at my IMDb. You were laughing at my resume. That's a whole thing. A whole separate issue. You're not getting lumped in with Taylor. You were not inconvenienced by this. You were not disrespected by Heather. So you're not righteous in this moment.
But the crazy thing is, Tamara's like, why are you involving yourself? And Gina's like, I'm trying to check on my friend Heather. Heather fucking defends Tamara.
I know.
She says to Gina, like, nah, dude, you don't get it. I'm with Tamara here. It's like, Gina's getting crucified for standing up for her friend, and her friend takes Tamara's side, who's talking shit about Heather.
Yeah,
This
the whole thing
blew
made no
my
sense.
mind, and this is where the patterns thing comes up. Jen goes, I want to talk about, like, your patterns. You have some patterns, Tamara. When she said that, I recognized the patterns throughout the episode. And I'm like, you know what? You're 100% right. Because then we see it again. I wrote pattern really big right here. What Tamara does, because she later sits down with Jen after they kind of blow up at each other, what Tamara's patterns are. She will start some shit, say some shit, lie, gets caught in the lie, tries to make up, and immediately says, I just want to move forward.
Yep.
I just want to move forward with you. That's her move.
Exactly what
she
she
can
does.
do whatever the fuck she wants to do, say whatever the fuck she wants to say. Look at her podcast. She does it all the time. She says random things. She makes accusations. When she's called out about it, she apologizes, says, let's move on. And if people want to sit on it longer, like Shannon, in the beginning, I said to you, I wish that Shannon was able to just be like, you know what, chalk it up, let's just move forward. After watching Tamara more and more, I'm like, you know what, I wish that Shannon would have made her apologize for those 2 years, because this is what Tamara does. She fucks up, apologizes, and expects people to get over it, and when they don't, she makes them out to be the problem.
I'm
That's her
waiting to
pattern.
see if somebody calls her out for trying to get information for her podcast, because of the way that the way her and Teddy run that podcast, and they pull up all this information about other housewives, and they always say that they were there for things that they weren't there for, and they always say that they were on to things that they definitely didn't know. I'm waiting for that fourth wall break for somebody to be like, oh, you're going to talk about this on your podcast?
Oh my God, I would love a fourth wall break about 2Ts, and I would love for this to get back to them, because if we need a feud with anybody, I will love
That would be fine.
a feud between the bros and 2Ts. I think that'd be funny. But that pretty much wraps up the episode. We got a quick combo with Heather and Gina, and I didn't agree with Heather here. So Gina is very upset because, again, we're talking about the affair, and the I'm going to fuck her thing comes up, and the hypocrisy of Tamara outing this to the group in that setting I thought was crazy.
Well,
Because she gets upset when anybody airs out her shit, but she's able to do it with Jen.
but that's what she was doing. She was deflecting. As soon as somebody brought up her patterns and the way that she goes, she had something ready to roll.
Yeah, and she does that immediately. And then Shannon, again, kind of garners support for Jen, saying, look, there was a real connection there. Like, is it the greatest way in the world to go about it? No, but they have a real connection. Gina's totally right. No, it's still fucked up. Heather,
Yes.
no, it's still fucked up. We didn't even hold hands. Does not matter. The connection was there. He's sitting in your car because Tamara goes, well, Will caught you guys having sex in your car. She's like, no, he was just giving me a gift. If you're hiding from your husband,
It was his teeny weeny.
here's my little dick in a box, or a little dick in a ring box. But if that has to happen, if you're hiding from your husband to receive a gift from another man, that's cheating. You're cheating.
Yes.
So the whole thing is fucked. For Heather to say it's fucked is correct. For Gina to say it's fucked is correct. For Gina to want to call her boyfriend and talk to him about it, I don't think is a problem. I think that that's an open line of communication. Do I understand what Heather's saying? Like, hey, he's your boyfriend you're dating. He might not want to hear about your ex. Sure. At the same time, for a healthy adult relationship to move forward, if this is something that's burdening Gina, hey, I haven't gotten through this yet as much as I thought I did. I have some more shit I need to air out. As a partner, Travis needs to be able to hear that, have a productive conversation. Maybe he's not the guy to sit there and like let her vent all the time.
Right.
But you need to be able to go to your partner and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I need help. Can you help me out? And his job is to be like, yeah, I got your back.
Yeah.
That's what a partner does. For Heather to be like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't share so much with Travis. It's like, no, that's what you should do with
It's almost like Heather wants Gina to protect herself against Travis or
Travis
against
has
getting
done
into
nothing
that.
wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I was really confused by the whole thing. is I fully agree with you. Like that is if that's where Gina wants to go for her outlet, that's actually a really good sign for the relationship.
Healthy outlet.
Yeah,
that's
what it's supposed to be. So, and they're married now too. So obviously,
are they?
Yeah, they got married in June.
So even more so.
Everything is even better now. So clearly, just let her go do that. Now I get it if Heather's thinking like maybe she's being a little dramatic about the whole thing. I err on the side that she's being a little dramatic about this. I get it. Like
But how can you speak on that? You know, it's
what do you mean?
Have you ever been cheated on in a marriage?
No.
Then you don't know.
But just because I was cheated on in a marriage doesn't mean that when somebody else is talking about this for the 7th time in my face, I'm going to start bawling my eyes out and run away.
She has some more demons that she hasn't worked through, and this is a good indicator of, hey, maybe I need to do some more soul searching, you heartless prick.
Maybe she should, but I thought that was
a heartless prick.
I thought it was a touch dramatic. I thought it was a little too much.
You're too much.
And I don't think that she should have ran away and went and cried in the tractor.
I wish you would go run away and try and crack her.
Cracked her?
Cracked her.
Yeah, cracked her it is.
But that takes us to our questions. We're only going to do a couple since we gave you guys our personal questions this time. But from eFits07, is Tamara an amazing producer or a shitty friend? Arguably both.
Shitty friend.
Yeah.
Way more shitty friend.
I would lean further on shitty friend.
She's trying to be a good producer, but she's a very shitty friend.
She's a horrible friend, but she is working her ass off as a producer, and some of it's landing, so I can't say she's a shitty producer, but she is a terrible friend. From Fiona Banks, do you think that Tamara brought Jen on just to blow up her spot and secure another season? 1,000% yes.
I think she completely railroaded Jen. Yep. I don't even think they're really friends.
I hope that Jen sticks it out and Tamara gets the boot if it comes to that. Now, I don't think that either of them well, I also don't think either of them deserve the boot. They're both bringing enough to the show.
We'll see if Jen can get off of the
affair. If she can get past the infidelity thing and move on to greener pastures. No pun intended, since they're on a pasture in Montana. Thank you. Bing, bing. Mm-hmm. But if she can move forward after this, because it's a decent start, it's dragging now, but it was a solid start because it's captivating enough for us to be like, what the fuck's going on? If she can move into her next thing, I think she's got a shot to stick around for a while. It's not a question, it's a statement, but I think it's a little crazy. From Nancy S321, Gina is giving me Danielle from Summer House vibes. No, dude. No.
No.
I'm not saying that you can't have that opinion. I'm just saying
that's way different.
Danielle was way, way more volatile than this. She was involved in everything.
Now, if Gina started to talk to other people about Ryan and find out for herself that he was cheating on Jen, and then talk to Ryan directly and then blow up their spot, maybe.
But that she has
a long way to go to get to Danielle.
It's a long way to go before she gets to Danielle. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed our little bit different episode. I really enjoyed it, so I hope you guys did, so we can kind of do some more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we have our live show July 26th in New York City. Tickets are going fast, so get yours now. We're announcing guests within the next week or so, so pay attention to our socials. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @Brav_Bros. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe.
At BravBros Podcast. We're putting a lot more stuff up on there, so keep checking in on that. And other than that,
see you next week.
See you next week.